Hi, a very good morning or afternoon to all of you. Thank you very much for joining us for this webinar, Introducing the New Student Success Collaboration. My name's Carla Whitcomb and I'll be running the webinar, and I'll give you a little bit more information about myself in a short while. For now, I just wanted to say we should be taking around sort of 45 minutes, an hour of your time, and I will be recording the webinar, so it will be available to you if you want to share with colleagues or watch again at some point. And also just to say, if at any point you have any questions that crop up as we're going through, please don't hesitate to write them down in the question panel. And so on the right hand side you should have your GoToMeeting panel there, and you should be able to write questions as we're going through. And please just put them in there and I'll get to them as and when they arrive. Okay, so firstly, just a few introductions. So I'm there on the far right. My name's Carla Whitcomb and I work in marketing for Epigeum. So I help run webinars like this to introduce our products to people. And so I just wanted to see if Fran and Joni were available as well. So firstly, Joni, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Hi, great. We can hear you too.
I can hear you, Carla.
Great. Okay, so I didn't know if you two just wanted to quickly introduce yourselves.
Sure. My name is Joni Petschauer, and I'm serving as a co-lead advisor for the Student Success course that is being developed by Epigeum. I'm currently serving as a senior fellow for the American Council on Education and work specifically on student access and student success once they are in college. Fran?
Great. Thanks, Joni. I'm Fran Amar, and I'm the Business Development Director for North America. So I'll be working with all of the schools in the U.S. I'm actually based in New Jersey on the East Coast, so I am domestic. And I'm happy to answer any questions you have regarding the Student Success Program or anything Epigeum offers.
Great, thank you guys. So I'll just go through a quick agenda for what we have lined up for today. So firstly, just a little look at Epigeum and how we develop our programs, and then a look at the program itself, and then a little bit of a look at what we've a program that we've already developed called Avoiding Plagiarism, just so you have an idea about what an Epigeum program looks like when it's ready. So just a little bit of information about us. So we were founded in 2005 as a spin-out from Imperial College London, and as of about 6 months ago we were acquired by Oxford University Press, so we're now part of that organisation. And so in that time, in that sort of 10 years, we've become the leading publisher of online courses to transform the way in which universities and colleges support their core activities of research, teaching and learning being the bit we're concerned with today with the Student Success Programme. And to date we've got over 78 online courses, and that's across about 12 different programs. So we have about 5 new programs in development. We're always kind of developing new programs, and we're used by a lot of institutions. So we come from the UK, we've got a heavy presence in the UK, but we're actually used by a lot of places. So we're now in 29 different countries, and that's throughout 260 different institutions. So I just wanted to have a little look at how we develop our programs. So we use what's called a development model. So that's what we're putting together here in terms of, so we bring together up to about 20 different universities, 20 being an absolute maximum really. We try and have less than that. And so member being a college or a school or an institution. And they help us create the program. So they come on board, they help shape the curriculum, they join a one-day workshop where we discuss what should and shouldn't be included, and then they get the opportunity to peer review as we go through. And at Epigeum we select the kind of subject authors and we team that with our in-house experience. And then there's a meticulous review process that we go through as well to ensure that it's the highest standard it can possibly be. So I wanted to just give you a little bit of an idea about our pedagogical approach. So just some of the things that we put in our materials. So one of the most important things that we do is we have a lot of video interviews, we have a lot of video material. We like to show kind of authentic material, whether that's students or staff in their everyday environment, and we have a lot of that material throughout our programs as well. What we tend to do is all of the people in that development group, we go to their different schools and colleges and we actually film their staff and students there. So we use those people to get the real authentic material there. And you'll see a lot of these other bits that you can see on the page now when I show you one of our existing programs, but just a little bit of a look at the way that we underpin all of what we do. Okay. And just a little bit of a look at kind of benefits of joining the collaboration, which we can come back to, but just to kind of give you an idea about what would be involved if you were to join us with the Student Success collaboration. So you get a campus-wide unlimited license in perpetuity, so all of the different departments could use it. And you can deliver your training more flexibly, more efficiently, and you get significant input into the development of the courses. So you get a real opportunity to shape it as to how it's going to work best for your institution, as well as being able to peer review the courses as they're developed. And as I said, you can get your students and staff to appear in the videos. And really importantly, we've got a great technical support service and implementation, so we really help you understand how you can get the most out of our programs. And of course, you gain access to materials at a speed and quality which you can't achieve alone. You know, all of the different universities pulling together really does provide something that's of a much higher quality and of course much more quickly, as we've said as well. So I wanted now at this point to hand over to Joni, so Joni can explain her kind of vision for the programme and why she got involved. So if I just hand over to Joni now.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, Carla. Can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. That's what we want. Again, my name is Joni Petschauer, and I gave you a little bit of my background. I have worked in higher education at Appalachian State University my entire career until I retired. I've worked a lot with access programming and am very skilled and knowledgeable about what it takes for students to succeed in college or university or any institution the first year they attend. That's been the focus of my work. It's been the focus of my research and my presentations and consultations. So I want you to know that the people that were invited to participate in this course are people with real on-the-ground experience, and I've really enjoyed that part of Epigeum's development team. I kind of want to talk a little bit about why online student success programs make sense, particularly in this day and age. More than ever, students are aware of online tutorials. Certainly, they're being driven to a variety of resources that are online, not only by our institutions, but by our high schools. The Khan Academy is an outstanding example of that, where students can sort of ask questions on their own and self-learn in a variety of ways. Another reason is that the kinds of programs that we want that will be the foundation for student success can be delivered in multiple ways. As the development team was discussing this particular project and working on its creation, one of the things that we were really delighted by was the ingenuity with which different campuses saw that they could use this program. Part of it as a college orientation that students might participate with before classes even begin, particularly if they were foreign students. Some campuses saw it as a hybrid course where there would be online components that they would have students do, which allowed for deeper relationship building in the classroom. Rather than going over how to take notes, they could talk more about the importance of how to read faculty and understand that. And then for some campuses, this was seen as a fully delivered online student success courses. So I think that is one of the ways that you can start thinking about what are the needs on your campus and how might this program best support your students as you try to be sure that they succeed and graduate. Because this has the ability to be customized for your campus with regards to certain resources, there are places within the program that Epigeum leaves for. We can put generic resources in, but we can also work with you to customize those resources so that if you've got a specific place where students need to go or building on your campus and you know that that's where they need to be, then it's really useful to be able to point to that right there in the course. I have been most impressed by the high quality and interactiveness of the presentation. This is not an e-book. This is an interactive course, and I've really been impressed by that. The interaction is lively, it's provocative, and it runs very smoothly. So that's something I think you can look forward to. The Epigeum has expertise in the ability to develop course content in a way that makes sense for learners as they are approaching the material. And two, I think you can take a lot of comfort in realizing that the content is being written by a team of experts from across the country. There were people on our team that, there are people on the team that represent 2-year schools, 4-year schools, public schools, private institutions. It was a full spectrum of American higher education. And there's still room to have more voices be a part of this. So I do want to share that this particular approach is certainly far more expected by students, and as our legislators and look at budgets and begin to cut and burn some of the opportunities we've had on our campuses, I think it behooves us all to look for high quality opportunities that are online that can meet a lot of needs quickly and effectively. This particular course, the Student Success Program, has 5 components. And I think that it would be useful for us to spend a few minutes talking about what the 5 components of it are. So I'm going to go a little further deeper. The first one, or the one that we saw as first, is why college, why now? It's designed to give students a brief overview to the purpose of higher education and an opportunity for those students to reflect on their goals in pursuing a degree. So we really want that personalized for students. The course also identifies strategies to assist students adapt to their new learning environment, whether that's going to be an online learning environment or a face-to-face learning environment or maybe a hybrid learning environment. The exercises are going to help students answer such questions as, what should I expect higher education to be like? What is my purpose in pursuing a degree? How can I use my time at this institution to meet this goal? What do I need to know to adapt to student life and to meet the expectations of my instructors? I think so often students really come with those kinds of questions but never find the opportunity to really ask them in a way that they feel like they are empowered to pursue their own education. We further work with students in this particular part of the program on how they can become a part of the college community, the broader academic community. And then how will I contribute to the learning community and to the social environment of my school? So that's what's comprised in that particular course in the program, and I think that that is a really fundamental way to start off this program, because students really need to reflect on their own goals and feel empowered about pursuing their education. We have a component on student skills, which is designed to introduce students to some of the skills they're going to need to develop or refine throughout their educational journey. We'll start with a diagnostic test to help students identify which skills they may need to focus on. The course is going to cover personal and organizational skills such as time management, as well as concrete study skills such as critical thinking, reading, note-taking strategies, presentation skills, and how to learn best in groups. This course will introduce students to different learning environments that they might encounter, whether it's a lecture or a seminar or an online discussion group. It will offer strategies for managing study space and time and give students an opportunity to consider which of these is going to be best suited for me. In order to improve their proficiency in many of the skills, such as critical thinking, academic writing, and oral presentations, there will be exploration exercises. And it's going to address ways that students can maintain their motivation throughout their undergraduate career. Another important component, and one that we believe has probably got the most requests as we've talked to faculty and even with students, is the component on academic integrity. This is going to lay out academic integrity in ways that students can truly conceptualize. Not so much just a a philosophical idea or a definition, but truly begin to grapple with what does it mean to have integrity and what does it mean in the context of the academic community. Students will hear from peers and tutors discussing honesty and accountability and fairness, and then they can evaluate what they have to contribute to their new place of work. Further, we are going to provide a broad definition of plagiarism and then introduce students to the important skills of how do you paraphrase and cite sources. Finally, students will review broader forms of academic misconduct as well as specific plagiarism traps and learn how to avoid those behaviors. By the end of this component, students will be able to explain the concept of academic integrity and how they can demonstrate integrity in their work. They're going to identify different forms of plagiarism and how to avoid it. Understand the utility of reference systems and how to cite sources appropriately. Identify the difference between group work and collusion, and recognize other forms of academic misconduct and understand how to avoid them. That go beyond just writing papers or taking tests, but the whole sense of a responsibility to the academic community. The next component has to do with overcoming challenges of student life. Like any new endeavor, you're required to make a commitment to success that involves facing challenges. This isn't easy. Going to college is not for wimps. Earning an undergraduate degree or certificate is no exception to this. And you will find, or you already have found, that many things will compete for time, energy, and money. So negotiating a healthy balance between these different pressures of academic and non-academic demands is going to be a struggle and something that we believe needs to be addressed head-on. Students need to have an honest assessment of who they are as learners, recognize the proper planning and management of resources, and know when and how to access support so that they can succeed. We truly believe that students go to college with the intention of succeeding, and yet we find that there are barriers that keep them from doing so. So we want to discuss those openly with them and let them hear from other students where were the stumbling blocks in their academic journey. There'll be strategies that will be shared with students on how to overcome some of the barriers and common challenges, and create a plan to help them balance to the best as possible the competing priorities. Hopefully at the end of this course they'll be able to describe how they fit into the campus community, explain common financial, personal, and academic difficulties faced by first-year students, identify their own financial, personal, and academic challenges and develop a plan to overcome them, and list resources that on their own campus that can assist them in working through those challenges. The fifth component is how to leverage campus resources. It points students to all the different resources that are usually available on campus, if not on campus, in the community. It covers student support services, ways to get involved with extracurricular groups, possibilities for undergraduate research and internships and career, and ways to leverage all those resources so that when students, whether students are studying part-time or as a distance learner or as a full-time face-to-face student, they will be able to access and use those resources. Hopefully at the end of this particular component, the students will have an overview of the different forms of student support services that exist in their academic community. They'll learn different forms of extracurricular involvement, whether it's on the campus or in the community, in the broader community, and the benefits that come from that, certainly the networking that comes out of that, the sense of confidence and competence that can be identified. We will have a component on undergraduate research and how it might be worked with in different disciplines and how and when students can get involved, but that'll be a broad brush approach to this. This will not be an in-depth undergraduate research aspect. It will have timelines, using timelines that students can visually manipulate and move about so that they can plan out internship applications and other steps towards their future careers. And lastly, we will make an effort to make sure that part-time and distance learners can see how they can leverage those resources. I want to reinforce what Carl has said about what the benefits are for institutions that adopt the course, particularly if you become an adopter in the next couple of months. The technology assistance from Epigeum is phenomenal. Secondly, the faculty development consultation from Constance Relahan and myself and many of the authors will be available to you. Assistance with customizing the aspects of the course to reflect your campus resources, and as was said, the course license in perpetuity. And I think it's important to know that this course can be revised and will be revised to make sure it's up to date. So that will be to your advantage as you maintain this license in perpetuity. So I want to offer to you that you can trust this course and that you know that that people that really share the responsibilities that you have on your campus are available to support you as you look at online options for your students. And if you've got additional information about that, you see Fran's information here. I'm sure she's contacted you and you've got her email address, but I just want to reinforce that she's our go-to person for that information.
Great, thank you, Joni. So I'll hand back over to myself just to take you through our Avoiding Plagiarism program. So this is a program that we've already released. So we released it about a year ago now to an international market. We're actually currently working on a US version of the Avoiding Plagiarism program as well. So what I'm going to show you now here is actually our international version. So you might notice some of the language is kind of a bit different and things like that, but it's just a sample so I can show you what the Student Success program might look like, and B, also we're getting a US version, so if you are interested, for example, in this program, it might be more suitable when that one comes out. So just a caveat there. So sorry, I'll just pop back here. So this is our Epigeum portal. And this is where we host our courses. Most institutions actually prefer to have them in their own LMS system. So it'll look like however yours, whether you're using Moodle or Blackboard or whichever one you use in your school. But this is what it looks like when you're using our program. And so I'll just show you, this is a welcome screen. So this is something that we have at the beginning of all of our courses. And this just helps set the scene. So here, if I scroll down slightly, you can see we've got a list of all of the authors, so you can see who was involved in helping to create the materials. And then there's a list of all of the learning outcomes, then the course structure, highlights, and supporting institutions. So just here on the supporting institutions section, these are all of the people who are actually involved in creating this Avoiding Plagiarism program. So as you're involved as a development group member here, we list you on all of these welcome screens as well. Okay, so here's a main screen from our program, and just something to point out about the way we develop our content. So firstly, we always have a learning outcome at the beginning of each screen, so that the student understands what they'll be able to do, what they should be able to do, what they've learnt as a result of completing this screen. And we also offer an estimated duration time at the top right here. We understand that one of the advantages of online learning is that you can come back to the screens, so it's helpful if you're just dipping in and out of the materials to have an idea of how long that screen's going to take you, so you can factor in your time accordingly. So this here introduces the student voice into the course, and this is something that's really important to us with our studying programs, of which obviously Student Success is one. So what we tend to do is we tend to kind of introduce a theme, and then we'll have a kind of little testing activity on that. So here, the first thing that we ask the students to do is reflect on what they think about plagiarism, what's their knowledge like, what's their existing idea and knowledge about plagiarism, and then they're encouraged to write this down to keep it active. So they would write that down there, and then go through just getting an idea of where they currently are, where they're at. And then we move on to a video. So here the video is actually the same questions as we've just asked them in that text box. So this is real students giving their thoughts on the same questions they've just answered. And as I mentioned before, video really helps bring the material that we have to life. And in this particular instance, you can see obviously the student who's taking this plagiarism course gets the opportunity to compare and contrast what they think with those of the peers that are featured here in the video. And the videos that we do are always short, they're vox pop style, so you can see here I think they're all at kind of a couple of minutes each, lots of different people featuring. And also they all have a transcript as well, so the accessibility is very important to us. And so as well as the video having a transcript, we also make sure that it's accessible for anyone using screen readers or who are unable to use the text, the interactive version for any reason. So you can see here when you click on that, it's all available in flat text there so that anybody can use that. And you might have seen when I was scrolling down there that we have these things, these little boxes on the right hand side, and we call them pods. And basically they contain all the kind of supplementary information that we don't want to include. So that might be additional information, links, definitions, activities, and so on. And here you can see we've got an optional activity. So if I click on this optional activity here, we're inviting students who are taking this course to extend, apply, or reflect on their learning in some way. So here we've suggested that they set up a discussion group with other students who are taking the course so they can discuss the issues that come up as the course progresses. And this is really to help kind of foster the idea of a learning community and when you're online, so you feel like, you know, your peers are also taking the course alongside you. So this page is on unintentional plagiarism. If I just scroll down here. Okay, so this is one of our interactive activities, and this is actually a decision tree. So students taking this course follow this decision tree to help them decide how to appropriately quote, paraphrase, cite, and reference in this case. So they're asked whether their work contains any third-party material, then they answer the questions yes or no to find out the correct course of action. So for example, you say, yes, it's based on others, no, I haven't used their exact words, but I have paraphrased and I don't think it's sufficiently different. So here, the advice that we would give you as a result of your decisions there are to reword your summary or paraphrase it so that it's distinct from the original. So it's kind of helping to try and contextualize it to your real life example. So we're trying to make it a little bit more personalized for the student experience and the user journey here. And we do that a lot throughout our programs as well. And this is helping to build up a thought process, you know, to ensure that they're really understanding why they're doing what they're doing and not just kind of learning about it. And this isn't going to work for me, but this is actually a comic strip. So we try and make things very visual, especially in our student facing programs. We like to have a lot of imagery, and actually this is a revision of a previous plagiarism course, and we acted on some feedback that we got saying that they'd like a little bit more imagery, and we created 3 comic strips, and they're really great because we can introduce a cast of characters, and you can kind of follow their journey, see which one you most relate to, and it kind of helps build a sense of you can kind of follow them through and see how their journey is lived out. And here I just wanted to show you an example of how we kind of test the learning here, and this provides an opportunity for the students who are taking this course to kind of apply, test and consolidate what they've learnt so far. There are actually 2 quizzes on this screen which draw together the concepts that you've seen covered so far. So the first one is just a basic kind of yes-no testing of what you know about plagiarism so far. So you're saying yes, you would need to acknowledge that. Then we give you feedback on each of those and you go through, and obviously your score's totted up here. And here, this one's quite interesting. So something else that we try and do is we try and make it discipline specific where possible. So in the cases of things like this where we're reviewing your knowledge, we understand it's helpful if you can at least see some examples that relate to the kind of discipline that you're studying. So here we've tried to include that. So for example, if you click on the arts section, you can see it's laid out specifically there. So on the left-hand side, this is a piece of original text. And again, because it's the arts discipline that you've selected, it'll be a piece of arts text that you've got on the left-hand side. And on the right-hand side, we've got various revisions of that. And it's up to the student to decide whether they think that's plagiarism or whether it's just fine. So if you say it's just fine, then you get your feedback here saying, well, it's not actually because it doesn't cite the source of the idea. So you just go through picking those. And this screen is on citations and references. And again, I wanted to show you this one because it's got some quite nice examples of some interactive activities as well. And one of the ones I particularly like is here. So you've got the example here, and then it's a very active example. So for example, we expect that when students are citing a book, they'll then write in their version of the citation, and then we'll give them the correct citation at the end. So it's a really active way of testing what their knowledge of citations is like, and keeps the learning active and engaging, which is what we always try and strive for. And here as well, again, so we've highlighted the different elements of a citation, and when you click on it, we explain what that is and its role within that citation as well. And you might have noticed that there are lots of different pods on this screen as well. So for example, here we've got a useful links pod, and this takes you off to kind of online resources that the students can consult. So if there's something particularly interesting or useful on that page, they can go away and have a look at it. And actually, this program in particular, I think, it's a program that the students can keep coming back to. If, every time they do an essay, they might just need a refresher, and they can just come back to this online course, and they can go off and find some useful links there. So it's very much an ongoing program for them to have a look at there. And I also wanted to show you your context pods. So I know that Joni was talking to you about the fact that we like to encourage universities and schools to actually customize them a little bit, and these pods are a really easy way of doing that. So you can see on your screen now, this is it in its default mode, and we're asking you to check your institutional or departmental guidelines. And actually what we would say is, well, put a link to your institutional or departmental guidelines there. And again, it's helping personalize the experience for the student, so they know they're clicking on the link that actually they're going to have to follow when they're handing in their essay or their piece of work into your institution. And then they have all of the necessary information to hand. So the final thing I wanted to show you on the Avoiding Plagiarism course is this plagiarism in the news section. And we like to find ways of kind of presenting some information that actually relates to the real world. So we know that learning can be a little bit abstract at times. So this is one of the ways in which we do that. And I'm sure we think about ways to incorporate it into student success as well. So here we've got actual real life examples and the ramifications of plagiarism here. So we're helping students to understand it's not just an academic principle. There are actual reasons why we're so concerned with it, why we want you to do this course, and it's really just helping show them that it's got real life ramifications as well. And it's quite an interesting page as well for them to kind of look through and look at examples. So we include that, and all of these links are actually hosted by Epigeum. So if they get out of date for any reason, we can upload new stories, we can change links, etc. Okay, so that's all that I wanted to show you the program. Hopefully you've kind of got a bit of an idea of what it looks like, a little bit of a look at some of the activities and the way that we try and structure our screen so that it's very much taking you through from that kind of theory and a learning outcome right through to kind of testing your knowledge whilst you're still on that screen. So that, I think, is all we wanted to do in terms of presentations, but I'm sure you might have some questions to ask of us. So if you have any questions about the collaboration process or about how you might want to get involved or anything like that, Fran, Joni and I can take any of those questions now. If you want to type them in the question box, or if you'd rather, you can raise your hand and I can unmute you and you can ask those as well. So I'll give you a couple of minutes to think of any questions that you might have. I don't know, Joni or Fran, if there was anything you wanted to add to what I've just shown.
Not at this time.
I think, yeah, you did a great job providing that overview. That was great.
Great. Yeah, I mean, our programs do all tend to follow the same kind of orientation structure. So you can see, if I flick back to this one, you can see we take you through. So it's quite a linear process of going through all of the different course files there. So they all tend to have the same kind of structure and they look quite similar. Also, if you would like any kind of trial access to avoiding plagiarism as well, so, or any of our programs that you're interested in, Fran can also, so Fran's details should be up on your screen now, and if you want to get in touch with her, Fran can give you access to our courses if you want to kind of show them to colleagues or have a little bit of a play around yourself. I'd kind of recommend that you do that. It's quite nice to be able to kind of do that at your own leisure, and to be able to show people as well. So we're perfectly happy to do trials as well if you'd like. And the recording should be available kind of early, yes, well, we're Friday, aren't we? Early next week as well. So Fran will follow up with all of you with the recording, and if you have any questions. But I can't see any for now. So I assume hopefully everybody's happy with that. Okay, I think if we wrap up there, that's great. I hope you all enjoy the rest of your days. Thank you very much for coming along and hearing about our Student Success Programme. Hopefully it's given you something to think about, and please do get in touch if you have any questions or anything that you wanted to follow up with us afterwards. So goodbye from me, and thank you very much to Joni as well. Thank you very much, Joni.
No problem. Happy to be a part of it. Anybody have any questions, don't hesitate to look me up. I'm happy to talk to you myself as well. So.
Great.
Fran and Carla can provide my contact information.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for your time this afternoon, everyone. I really appreciate it.
Great. Thank you very much, everyone. Goodbye.